So, what do you think? Was it possible to predict the pandemic and predict the crisis?
No, that's one thing usually in supply chain, which we think that everything is predictable, but actually there is a lot of variability. So this type of crisis, this type of pandemic, it's always difficult to predict. But what we need to do, and usually what we do also in the supply chain, is to have backup plan, to have a different scenario in case if something is happening, you have some solution ready. But now in terms of predicting it, it's always difficult to predict. So that's why in term of risk, it's a risk management. So you have some backup. You make sure that when you have a storage facility, okay, if your storage facility is having some issues, do you have a second place to put your product? You have second supplier. You have a different routing for your logistic move. So those you need to be ready. Then when you will use it, you never know when the crisis is happening. But at least you have your backup ready, because maybe even if this pandemic is quite unique in the lifetime for everyone. But here in the region, in the Middle East, meaning we have unstable countries, we have war zone. So things are anyway changing. So you have to be ready with the change of regulation. There is a new conflict, etc. So that's same way of dealing with this pandemic, which is definitely meaning lasting longer. But it's to manage your risk, to know what is your valuable, what will be the value of the impact.
What tools of risk management people can use, like supply chain manager, supply chain professional can use to predict, not to predict, but to be able to work in different force majeure situations, like now, for example? What are the key things they must do?
The key for me, one of the key tool, it's to really understand deeply your item, meaning your product grouping, what is bringing the profit to your company, what is bringing the value to the company, to clearly identify them. And then for each of them, so if you're in manufacturing, so which it means that you will have the manufacturing operation, but the sourcing, the raw material sourcing of those products. So okay, what is your main source? What is your alternate source? And if possible, also the third alternate source in terms of manufacturing. Okay, you have your own facility, so good if something is happening, because actually you always think about this. So if your facility is impacted, do you have a plan B? Do you have an outsourcing facility? Do you have a contract with another partner to be able to sustain the operation in terms of transportation? So your main supplier is having some issues. What is your plan B? So usually you used to bring it. You used to bring goods from a certain origin, from a certain port in a certain route. Is yourself or your supplier is able to find your alternate route to bring those products? So it's really the way you're prioritizing your different items that you're dealing with, your product, your raw material, your manufacturing, in terms of human resources. So now being 6 months in the pandemic, so you know that you need to have a backup for all of your operation, because if someone is infected, and it happened, meaning I've seen it. Okay, what do we do? You have to close for a certain time, but you can close forever. So it's really the categorization of how an impacted material would impact your business. And then the second part also is that how long it would take to resume to a normal condition if this is impacted. So, for example, and this is in pharma, which is kind of always happening, because in the pharma industry, and this is why it's good, because in the pharma industry, whatever you want to sell, you need to register with the Ministry of Health, so finished good or raw material. Now it can take 1 year to 1.5 years to register a raw material. So whenever there is a description at the supplier, you will take 1.5 years to register a product. So if you wait that the description is happening, then you will lose 1.5 years. So this exercise, anyway you do it, meaning whatever the reason, the categorization, what is bringing value to your company, what is bringing profit to your company, and then for each one of them to have clearly alternate source of management.
I understand. Why your experience is so important for the participants of your workshop? What is unique in your expertise, and what you as a professional would bring to the participants of the workshop?
In terms of, I'm specialized into supply chain, meaning I've worked all my career in supply chain. Usually, well, time is changing, but usually people have done something else and then they ended up being into supply chain, being into procurement, being into logistics. I've done it from the beginning. I've started in supply chain. It's been more than 12 years now. Yes, I'm in supply chain in different role, into project management type of roles, or supply chain improvement process, etc. Into operational role like warehouse management, material planning manager, etc. Handling end-to-end supply chain, handling distribution, handling manufacturing, which is a different type of supply chain in different countries. So in Middle East, in Africa, in Europe. So that's what I can bring. I can bring to the participant different case, which I have seen myself. Meaning, one thing is that I can say, okay, this company is doing like this, but another thing is that we did like this. This is the way we manage, and I think that would be more interesting, because then it will be, it will not be the 100% perfect solution which you can see on the net, but this was a live example, and this is the way we manage it. So that experience I can bring.
I guess there is no perfect solutions, because every time we should make decisions. It's not about perfect, it's the optimum one right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, true. Right now it's always the optimal one.
What will the participants of your workshop get as a result?
So on the workshop itself, they will gain a methodology in managing their full end-to-end planning aspect, because always when we talk about end-to-end planning management, usually some of the part are forgotten. So we focus more on the sourcing, on procurement, or we forgot the way we plan, for example, the manufacturing, the distribution, or how we usually people hear about the forecasting, etc. But okay, that's one thing. But how do you make sure that this will be really dragged down along the full chain of your supply chain, so that you don't forget anything? Because right now, especially in those type of pandemic situation, you have to have this end-to-end approach, and even more than the end-to-end, you need to go even to your supplier level, because this is how you are impacted. And right now, there is a real example that if you don't know how your supplier is planning also, then you are putting yourself at risk. That's something. So in terms of end-to-end planning, it's some methodology, some quick tools, some processes to implement in order to be able to do it. Because also it's many people think, and especially those days, it's a lot of buzzwords since a couple of years on implementing this software, implementing this tool, but actually it's not. That's coming really on the background to support your existing effort. If your processes are not set, your mentality is not set, the company is not going toward this goal, you can have the best forecasting tool, the best ERP in the world, it will not make any difference for the company. It can even sometimes become worse by experience. So This is more how you set those process, how you use it, and then okay, you can complement it with whatever tool existing which are good enough. But it's and to be sure that all the parts are not left. So
Okay.
typical example in one of my previous experience in the pharma manufacturing. So you have to take care of your distribution. You have to take care of the forecasting. You have to take care of your manufacturing planning. Then you have to take care of your warehousing space. It is an issue. You have to take care on your raw material planning, etc. So meaning when you go on end-to-end planning, those are different aspects. You need to cover all of them.
Okay. Yeah, and you should understand the holistic scheme of how it works together. Okay, can you please share with me some interesting, maybe personal facts about you? Probably in how many countries you lived? Do you have a pet? What are your hobbies?
Okay. One thing usually, as an introduction, usually I
Can
say
you,
that.
sorry, can you, yeah, yeah, please.
So it's so I am my accent will say, but I am French, but from Madagascar, so from Africa,
Oh,
with grandparents from India. So that's in itself a mix. And I'm living in Dubai, and my wife is from Pakistan. So it's totally this is the mix. This is the mix which myself I have a cultural mix, and I've worked in study and brought up in France. Worked a bit in France and in Europe. Then in Egypt, North Africa. Then for a while I was based in Dubai, but actually physically based, but working a lot with Asia and with some emerging market in terms of supply chain. And since the last 5 years, it's mainly focusing on the Middle East. So having this Middle East experience, and since the last 6 months also, I've joined a new company with a totally new type of experience for me also on dealing with the supply chain of organizing some project type of business for the government institute. So, like for example, the UN, the NATO, etc. So it's I mean, different type of business also in different countries. So this is I think this is quite and myself also I'm a mix. So it's
yeah, it's an amazing experience actually. Okay, now one more question. Do you have any pet? A dog or a cat?
No, I don't have any.
No, not any hobby, interesting hobby?
Interesting hobbies, or except well, I'm playing football, but that might not be that uncommon. One thing which I like is really to read about all geopolitical aspects.
Oh.
So that's something I'm really something I'm not say passionate, but I'm really keen on. It's really interesting to see all the relation between countries, etc. And why also, and I become also quite attracted by this because it helping me also in my job. Meaning when you're moving products from here to there, you better know what is the situation in the country and what's happening because actually it's directly impacting your work.
Yeah, especially your one, yeah.
So you want to understand, for example. You see, we are sometimes we are dealing with Europe, with North America, and so on. So you want to understand the trade war between China and US, how it is working, because it is directly impacting yourself. Meaning you're having some tariff issues, you're having some customs issues, and that's your day-to-day life. So you're basically getting updated on all those topics. So that's something which I like to read in general about.
I understand. Great.